Welcome back. What a Final Four! What a men's Final Four we had, and you know, Duke Carolina was every bit the classic we thought it would be Saturday night, and I thought Monday night would not be a great game. I thought it would be anticlimactic. I thought the fact that Carolina had to just empty themselves to win that game against Duke would mean they'd have nothing left Monday night, and Kansas, who rolled through Villanova no problem, would crush them. And yet, we were sitting here, and it was 40-25 at halftime, North Carolina, and Kansas looked like they had no clue. In fact, they looked like the team I've seen get knocked out the last 5-6 years under Bill Self. Not only him getting out coached, which he definitely did in the first half, but the team that's been where the whole's been the more than the sum of its parts, running aground against legitimate stars. And in this case, that legitimate star was Armando Bacot, who had a double-double at halftime. I think he had 12 points and 10 boards at halftime. But to Kansas's credit, one of the reasons they're going to win this game is they kept him down in the second half. Although again, you have to wonder if that halftime break, if that ankle started to swell up a little bit, and then of course he slipped at the end. It definitely bothered him at the end when they were going for the lead, and he ends up turning it over. Bacot ended up with 15 and 15, which is a great performance in a championship game until you realize, he had 12 and 10 in the first half, and I don't think he made a field goal in the second half either in that game. And McCormick, who let's be honest, Bacot took his lunch money in the first half.
Yeah, that's what happens, man. Oh my God! Yeah, that's what happens.
He ends up with 15 and 10 and makes the big shot to put him up 3 in the last minute. It's unbelievable that they came back, Kansas. Even though they'd done it in other games, like they dropped the piano on doggone Miami in the regional final and just crushed them. It didn't look like they had it in them. And you got to give Bill Self credit, but the person in my mind that gets the most credit is Charles Barkley, who's been unbelievable on Inside the NBA with all the other guys that, with Ernie Johnson and Kenny the Jet Smith and whoever's been joining them. And at halftime, Charles Barkley diagnosed this game perfectly. There was an over-reliance on McCormick in the first half, and even though he came up big in the second half, it was way more balanced in terms of when they went to him. But he was like, McCormick was dominating against Villanova, and he said the Munchkins of Villanova, which made me laugh. And that Kansas's guards was going to have to win this game. And that's pretty much what happened. It pretty much went exactly, or it had to go exactly a certain way for Kansas to pull this comeback off, which, by the way, greatest halftime comeback in the history of the NCAA final. Before that, Kentucky had come from 10 down to beat Utah in 1998, which feels like 5,000 years ago because it is in so many ways. But everything he said and everything Kenny the Jet said about, North Carolina's got to avoid the turnovers, and they didn't turn it over a lot in the first half, and then the second half they did. It came to pass, and that's why that crew is one of, if not the best sports panel shows in the history of sports television. Those Inside the NBA guys, they've been together a long time, and they're great to listen to when they're not joking and cutting up with each other. And even when they are they're entertaining as heck when they're joking and cutting up with each other. But when they get serious and talk about the game, they know what the hell they're talking about.
San Antonio, Alabama. Ernie bringing steer the shit back.
And I mean, it's almost as if Bill Self listened to Charles Barkley at halftime and changed his plan, because that first half, I mean, they were up 7-0. And in my mind, if they had lost this game, it would have been down to the fact that Carolina started 1 for 7, and unlike the game against Villanova, Kansas really didn't jump them at the start. Yeah, it was 7-0, but after that, it was all Carolina in the first half. And Kansas couldn't do diddly squat with it. And a couple of key things. North Carolina did not get to the foul line in the second half the way they did in the first. They were 13 of 16 at halftime, and I think they were like plus 11 or 12 on the foul line against Kansas. Well, 5 of 6 in the second half. And again, that's not bad, but when you shoot the ball as poorly as North Carolina did from both the three-point arc and overall, then you need a lot of free throws to win. And they only got 5 of them in the second half. And Kansas didn't shoot the foul shots great. They were only 8 of 14, but they didn't get blown out at that end of the floor. And they shot the ball real well in the second half. And if they ever put a box score up where I can look at the halftime numbers, I'll tell you what they shot in the second half. But it felt like Kansas was absolutely on fire from the field in general in that half. And it had to be to come back that much. And, you know, some of it, too, is Carolina might have hit the wall a little bit. Because one thing about it, if you're a team that takes a lot of jump shots and you start to wear down energy-wise, you lose the lift and you start missing. And look no further than Caleb Love.
They go to Love. Love's going to be the one to take it. Puts up the shot. It's off. The game is over.
Who missed that last three. He ends up 5 of 23 and 1 of 7 from 3. Did not have the lift in his jump shots at all. And that's why you got to keep attacking the paint. That is why you got to do that, especially when you're tired. And yes, it's tougher to do because you're going to get hit on the way in there at times. But what's easier when your legs are going a little bit? A 3 or 4 footer or a 2 footer or a 22 footer? I mean, it's just kind of basic.
Just as I suspected. Hollow! Never mind what I said, just do what I said.
Stuff like that. So I think that's the thing that I take away with, or that I come away with from this game is that really is where North Carolina lost this, is that, you know, they kind of stayed with what they had been doing, but they just didn't have it. Their legs just couldn't go.
Witless fools, do I have to do everything for you?
And you know, you look at Brady Manick getting 13 and 13 tonight, but he only gets 6 shots. Or he only gets 8 shots. You know, Baycott gets 13. He's 3 of 13. R.J. Davis gets 17 shots. He's 5 of 17, and Love takes 23. You know, and Puff Johnson, what a night he had. If they'd have won, he'd have been an absolute hero. 11 points in 17 minutes. Honestly, he probably needed to be in there more the way he was playing. So that was you know, that was a heck of a performance from him. But you just got to tip your cap to Kansas. God dang it. 15 down at halftime. I was giving them no chance. Absolutely zero. And they win this game. It's the opposite of what happened Sunday night with the women's, where South Carolina absolutely bludgeoned Connecticut on the boards and used that to win. Kansas got out-rebounded by 19. North Carolina had 15 more dadgum rebounds. 15 more!
Get out of my sight!
And they dominated second chance points in the first half, but in the second half it wasn't as nearly as much. And so, I mean, that's the thing, is like those were 2 of Carolina's biggest avenues, was second chance points and free throws. And of course, as I said before, oftentimes those go hand in hand. They weren't getting that. They did not get that near to the level that they got it in the first half and the other night. And now we can finally look at it. We can finally maybe look at the second half box score here. See if they've got there we go. Let's get the PDF up here on this, because that's when we can really look at stuff. It's like, and I mean, my God, North Carolina 2 for 12 in the second half from 3, and 11 for 40 from the field. Ouch. Meanwhile, Kansas nearly 58%, 19 to 33, And they were only 4 of 10 from 3, but that to me is all the other key too. You know, you take 33 shots and about a third of them are threes. I think that's a pretty good ratio. And look, we talked about the free throws. So North Carolina's 5 of 6, but Kansas is 5 of 10. So it ends up even. It ends up even in that department, and that's what makes it so big. Now let's see if do they at least give us a first half box? No, they don't. That's too bad. So we can't look at the first half box. But you know I mean, Bill Self needed his second title badly because the first title he got was by Memphis just plain old choking, and of course that would have created a situation if Memphis, because they would have had to take that title away, or they should have. And of course, major infractions are up against Bill Self, and they didn't get rid of him, and I guess this is why. He's got another championship, so that makes him even more bulletproof.
Not yet.
By the way, points off turnovers ended up way in Kansas's favor, 18-9, which again, in a game that close, is kind of big. So this is congratulations to Bill Self, second title, puts you into a pretty rare class as well. Hubert Davis almost did it. I thought he was going to join that rare club of winning a championship in his first year as a head coach. He was right there with 20 minutes to go, and they got absolutely wiped. And just like against Miami, Kansas got 47 in the second half. Whew. Unbelievable. Unbelievable from them. And to me, they were just nowhere in this game.
You ain't got it here, and you ain't got it here anymore.
Nowhere at halftime. And they come back with that. And a lot of credit to a lot of guys. Remy Martin, McCormick, Jalen Wilson played a great game in the second half. And credit to Bill Self, who's gotten out-coached a lot in the tournament, especially the last 5-6 years, but he moved the chess pieces around some tonight, and you see why it's tough for a first-year coach to win, because you know the players are looking for you to get through these situations that they're not used to. And when you're a first-year coach, it's tough to know everything that you need to know, or have the experience to say, okay, I did this in this situation, it didn't work, I'm going to try this. And you don't have that kind of experience, and even being an assistant for 10 years like Hubert Davis was, the big chair versus the assistant's chair is a completely different deal. And that's what makes it so tough, and that's why you don't see a lot of first-year coaches win national championships in college basketball, because it usually takes a few times getting in the situation before you get it right, without a doubt. So, I tip my cap to the Jayhawks. Thank God Duke didn't win the national title, and thank God Carolina didn't win the national title, because the rest of us would never hear the dadgum end of it. So, I am a relieved man tonight, even though it means Kansas has another title. Now, hopefully, the NCAA will quit doing what they do with all these blue bloods that get in trouble, and A, stop putting it off, and B, drop the dadgum hammer on them.
Look at the jackhammer! A jackhammer to Leicester!
Because that's what needs to happen. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Share this around. Talk to you guys next time.
That's it. We're done, right?